Hi everyone, this is a video about the Magnus Smith trap, which occurs in the Sicilian Defence and is named after Magnus Smith, the 3-times Canadian champion from the late 19th and early 20th century. It's a brilliant trap with a couple of traps along the way, not just one idea in mind, and you'll be able to use it a lot in bullet games and blitz games. It's very effective, and Bobby Fischer did some work on it, and we'll get into that after a bit. So it starts with the Sicilian Defence, e4, c5, knight f3, d6, d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, knight f6, knight c3, knight c6, and we're into the classical variation of the Sicilian. And the move to go for here if you're white is bishop c4, to which the best response is e6, blocking out immediate threats on the f7 square, which is a key theme in the opening stages of the trap. For example, if Black plays g6 after bishop c4, then he's going into the trapping line. He's not quite there yet, but he's on the way. After knight takes c6, b takes c6, e5. Black has to make a decision here. A couple of moves are fine for him, like he can play knight d7 is okay. After e takes d6, e takes d6 and castling, there's a slight advantage to white, but it's nothing serious, nothing more than white usually has in a regular game of chess. He can also play after e5, he can play knight g4, and that's also fine. After e takes d6, e takes d6 and white castling, again it's only a slight advantage. But if after e5 he plays knight h5, then he starts getting into trouble. And we'll get into why that is in a second. The other variation in this situation after e5 is what might seem like an obvious move, with d takes e5, but this loses the queen after bishop takes f7 check, and the only square for the king, because all of these are covered by the queen, is to take the bishop, and after that the queen is free to take and white will win the game easily. So after knight h5, which leads into the main trapping lines of the Magnus Smith trap, the best move to play is queen f3, and this is Bobby Fischer's analysis now, and e6 is the correct move here. d5 could be met by knight takes d5, and if c takes d5, then bishop takes d5, with the threat of mate on f7 and also the threat of taking the rook. So the mate has to be defended, say with e6, and the rook is gone. So d5 is no good. So e6 is the correct move here, to which white can now play g4, and knight has to move to a square to save itself, and the only decent move is knight g7, to which white can play knight e4, and now he's getting a pretty big advantage. There's a few things to consider here. Another move that might look obvious is d5, but after knight to f6 check, white or black is forced to take with his queen, like so. Queen takes f6, e takes f6, because if he doesn't, after knight f6, the only move that the king has is king e7, and after that queen a3 check. The only way to stop it is with c5, then queen takes c5 check, queen d6, queen takes d6 mate. So that's nothing to worry about if you find yourself in this situation. Another thing that black might opt to go for here is after knight e4, he might see that he can check with his queen with a5 and pick up this pawn, but that's another trap in this line, because after bishop d2 and queen takes e5, there's bishop c3, which traps the queen. He has no squares to go to now. These are all covered by the bishops, these ones by the pawns, this one by the knight, these by the queen and the pawn. So he has nothing. His best move is to go queen takes e4, and after queen takes e4 it's all over, even with a d5, queen f4, and d takes c4, castling queenside, and there's a crushing advantage. Fritz gives over 7 points of material ahead, and it's all over for black. So that's a Magnus Smith trap. It's a brilliant trap to know and a brilliant trap to use in online games. Hope you enjoyed that. Please leave any comments or thoughts. Thanks very much.